Hey guys, Josh from soccerreviewsforyou.com, bringing you a quick discussion video today to talk about the most common injury that's caused by soccer cleats / football boots that everybody at one point or another has experienced in their soccer playing career. And of course, I'm talking about blisters. The reason why I wanted to make a discussion video on blisters specifically is because I get questions every single day asking how come my brand new shoes are giving me blisters, what is the cause, and of course, how can I prevent this? These are all questions that I'm going to be answering in today's video, but most importantly, I wanted to point out that blisters are, in my opinion, a type of injury, a type of discomfort that is 100% avoidable given that you follow certain steps when you're breaking in a brand new pair of shoes or just wearing soccer cleats in general. So if you're interested in learning more about blisters and of course how you can avoid getting them, please stick around and watch the entire video. And with that being said, let's get right into the discussion. To start off this discussion, I want to ask myself this question, and it's not me asking it. I know a lot of you guys ask me this question pretty often, and that is, how often do I get blisters from testing out all these different shoes, breaking in shoes pretty much every single day? And the answer to that question is, I don't get blisters pretty much ever. And the reason for that, and something that you really need to take away from this video, if nothing else, is that blisters are 100% your fault and not the fault of your shoes. Yes, the shoes are causing the blister to a certain extent, but you don't get that blister until you wear those shoes in a certain way for a certain amount of time for that blister to develop. So what I'm getting at here is blisters happen over a certain period of time. It's not an instant injury. If someone makes a really bad tackle on you and you break your leg, that's an instant injury. It was completely unavoidable for the most part. With a blister, you start running around in a brand new pair of shoes, you start to feel slightly uncomfortable, whether it's on your toe, the bottom of your foot, very commonly your heel. You start running a little bit more, it feels more and more uncomfortable, and then eventually it hurts so much you have to take the shoes off, and what do you know? You've got a blister, and it's a pain. It takes a long time to heal, and it sucks for a week or two. So that's really what you need to take away here, and that's really the main reason why I don't get blisters. If I'm wearing a brand new pair of shoes for the very first time, I'm going to bring that new pair of shoes, but I'm going to make sure that in my bag I have a pair of shoes that are well broken in, that I know are 100% going to be comfortable for me to wear at any point in time throughout my playing session. So when I start that session in my brand new pair of shoes and I start to feel any kind of discomfort, hints of a blister, because you definitely can tell when the start of a blister is happening, you take those shoes off and you put on the shoes that are comfortable and you know for sure aren't going to cause you any issues whatsoever. If you do that, you're never ever going to get blisters. I know that can be tough for some people, especially when you do get a brand new pair of shoes. It's exciting and you want to wear them no matter what. But if you continue to wear shoes that are uncomfortable on your feet, you're going to get blisters. And can you really blame that on the shoe? Not necessarily. I would equate it to getting in a car for the first time. You don't get in a car for the first time and immediately put your foot to the floor. You kind of get used to it for 5 or 10 minutes before you start doing anything that you wouldn't otherwise do in that particular car, if that makes sense. It's probably not the greatest analogy because I know not everybody that watches my videos drives, but you kind of get what I'm saying. You don't go in a race car and immediately put your foot to the floor and think that good things are going to happen. You're likely going to crash. Same thing with soccer shoes. You don't put a brand new pair of soccer shoes on right away, go take a bunch of shots, go do a bunch of kind of high intensity things, sprints, quick changes of direction, because you just don't know how those shoes are going to feel on your feet. It's unfamiliar for your feet, which is generally going to up your chances of having some kind of discomfort and eventually resulting in a blister if you put up with that pain for long enough. So essentially what I'm getting at here with avoiding blisters, don't put up with any kind of discomfort. If you feel a blister, if you feel any kind of excessive rubbing happening to the point where it starts to get just a little bit uncomfortable, take those shoes off, swap them on for something that you know 100% is broken in and isn't going to cause you a blister. And if you continue to do that every single time you wear your brand new shoes, eventually they'll feel comfortable for the entire session and you're pretty much done the break-in process. So again, if you wear them until they hurt so much that you have to take them off, it's too late, you got a blister, and like I said, it's kind of your fault. Next, I want to talk about what you should consider if you're going to be wearing your brand new shoes for the first time. What you first off should do is put them on your feet, tie them up, and see how they feel. I know a lot of people are buying their shoes online, so if you just got them in the mail and you put them on your feet, evaluate how they feel. Is there any kind of discomfort? Do they fit you properly? Is there any kind of heel slippage? Is your foot moving around? Are they too wide? Are they too narrow? Are they too tight? What is going on? If they feel really, really good from right out of the box, no noticeable discomfort areas whatsoever, you're unlikely to have any issues. But if you do feel any kind of discomfort, it's something that you really need to pay major attention to if you do plan on wearing them for the first time. If they just feel too uncomfortable from right out of the box, I would strongly recommend returning them and going for something else, whether it's a different size or a different shoe altogether. Because if they don't feel good from right out of the box, they're likely never going to feel good, period. Now that you've decided your brand new shoes do fit you in a way that you'd like them to fit, whether they're absolutely perfect or have some slight issues with them that you know will change after some break-in time, you're going to take them to the field and you're going to put them on and you're going to wear them for your first training session. And that's a key word, training session. I don't really recommend wearing brand new shoes straight into a game. If you're stuck out there on the field for 45 minutes at a time, and a blister happens within that 45-minute period, a lot of people aren't going to ask their coach to come off because of discomfort issues when it comes to blisters. You're focused on the game, and like I said, you're just going to kind of deal with that little bit of pain before it's too late, you have a blister, and then you have a problem from there on. So I would strongly recommend not wearing shoes straight into a game, new shoes straight into a game. So you're going into your first training session. What should you be doing? Honestly, I would recommend doing very light things. I wouldn't even wear them to a team practice. I'd go out to the field on your own, do a little bit of jogging, do a little bit of juggling, very, very light things, and kind of see how they feel after 10, 15 minutes. If you don't feel any discomfort, you can move on to some slightly more intense things, maybe playing a little scrimmage, maybe doing a little bit of shooting, things like that. But I don't recommend immediately going into sprints, immediately taking 100 free kicks back to back to back, because like I said, that's a recipe for disaster. You're going to start to feel uncomfortable right away, and if you tolerate that pain for long enough, the end result is going to be a blister. Another thing that you should really consider when you are wearing your shoes for the first time is that you wear them with a decent pair of socks. Make sure your socks cover your entire ankle and heel. If any of that is left as exposed skin, that is going to make for much higher chances of getting a blister. So again, just make sure you wear some decent socks. The brand doesn't really matter. I know a lot of you guys are going to say, I can't afford True Socks. You don't need True Socks to break in your shoes. Just make sure you're wearing some decent socks that are comfortable to you and fit you well. If there's a lot of extra loose sock inside the shoe, again, that could lead to some kind of an issue with blistering. And finally, the last thing you should consider for the first couple of times that you wear a brand new pair of shoes is the actual weather conditions and just general temperature. If you're going to be playing on an artificial grass field, for example, and it's 90 degrees outside, which means the field's going to be like 120, 130 degrees, that's not a good type of environment to break in a brand new pair of shoes. That's where you're going to have a lot of excessive heat on your feet, which is going to make your skin very, very soft and more open to getting a blister, let's just say. So you want it to be not necessarily a cool day, but you want the weather conditions to be nice. You don't want it to be too hot. You don't want it to be too cold. You want to be 100% comfortable. And like I said, set up the situation so you're not going to have any issues with discomfort, and most importantly, going to avoid a blister. So just take things very, very slowly the first time that you wear them. Any kind of discomfort, again, take off your shoes, swap them in for something that feels better, and kind of continue that process with every single training session until they finally feel comfortable, in which case you can wear them all the time into a game, whatever it may be. But again, just take things slow and you won't have many issues with discomfort. The last thing to note in regards to getting blisters in your soccer cleats is that just because your shoes are broken in and comfortable doesn't necessarily mean that you are going to never have blisters in that shoe ever again. 5, 6, 7 months down the line, your shoes have been totally comfortable, but all of a sudden they start to give you blisters. There's a couple different reasons as to why that may be, and the main reason is they're likely breaking down. Eventually, shoes will break down. They don't last forever, especially plastics and stuff like that. they start to soften up. They're not as stiff, they're not as rigid as they used to be. That can lead to stud pressure, which can result in a blister. The padding and just the material in the heel area of the shoe can break down, which can eventually lead to some kind of discomfort, again resulting in a blister. Even if you do change your socks or never change your socks, if you're wearing older socks that don't fit you very well or just become really hard, new pair of socks can be very, very slick, which can also result in a blister. So just things like that you have to consider. Shoes don't last forever, and if a pair of shoes that have been comfortable for you up until now are starting to feel uncomfortable, it's likely that you're due for a new pair because something in that shoe is breaking down. It's very difficult to say what the specific problem is, but like I said, if a shoe that's been comfortable for you all of a sudden starts to feel uncomfortable, it's likely that you're due for a replacement. Alright guys, that's it for my discussion video on blisters and soccer cleats. As you guys probably noticed, I didn't mention any specific shoes in this video, and that's because this is a very broad topic where the same rules apply to pretty much any shoe. I know a lot of you guys are probably going to ask specifically about shoes like the Magista Obra, the Superfly 4, and the Hypervenom Phantom, or any of the mid-cut variations from Nike, because they do feel different from other shoes from right out of the box. But just like I said at the start of the video, if something feels a little bit weird at first, that's a very good sign that you should take things even slower, break them in slowly, and anytime you feel any form of discomfort, take the shoes off, put on a pair that's comfortable, and continue that process until you can wear them steadily for a 2-hour period without experiencing any discomfort. If you break them in slow, you're not going to have any blisters. If you bear the pain, the end result is a blister almost every time. So again, whether it's an Obra, an Evo Speed, a Vapor, a Superfly, an X15.1, a Messi 15.1, a Copa Mundial, whatever shoe it may be, you have to take things slow when it comes to breaking them in. If they feel great from the get-go, that's fine. Maybe the shoe doesn't really require that much break-in time, but if you feel any discomfort, that's a warning sign. Take the shoes off and take things slowly. You'll avoid blisters pretty much every single time. So that's pretty much it, guys. If you enjoyed this discussion style of video, be sure to support it with a like. If you have any questions on the topic of blisters and soccer cleats, leave them down below in the comment section. I definitely will get an answer out to you. And if you have any suggestions for other kind of discussion topics that you'd like to see me talk about in video form, leave them down below in the comment section. I'll definitely take a look at what you guys have to say. Subscribe if you haven't already for daily videos on all the latest and greatest soccer gear. You can find all my social media information down below in the description as well. And other than that, guys, hope you enjoyed today's video, and as always, thanks for watching.